Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina calls citizens to rise against Yunus's interim regime. And viewers, let's start now with the top story. According to reports, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now set to meet U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner today to discuss Phase 2 of the Gaza Peace Plan. Reports suggest that the U.S. delegation wants Israel to fully reopen the Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza even before Hamas returns the body of one of the remaining hostages. This comes after months of indirect talks mediated by Egypt, Qatar and US and Turkey. Under the Phase 1 of the deal, Israeli forces withdrew to the so-called Yellow Line while keeping control over more than half of Gaza. Hamas has released all living hostages and most of the deceased, but one body remains in their hands. Phase 2 plans include further Israeli troop withdrawals, deployment of an international stabilization force and the launch of Gaza governance structures, including the Gaza Board of Peace. Retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar joins me in this discussion. He is an international relations expert from New Delhi. Dr. Kochar, thanks very much for joining me. Firstly, there are many contentions regarding the Board of Peace itself, but let's start with the ceasefire, the Phase 2 of the ceasefire that has been agreed upon. This is going on without formalities within the Phase 1 having been completed. That is, one hostage's body is still to be returned by Hamas. What do you think are going to be some of the challenges in implementing the Phase 2, especially when there are so many contentions regarding the Board of Peace and Israel has continued its strikes?
Thank you, Kriti, because it's very important now, this progress of the Gaza peace plan. Donald Trump is very, very keen that he pushes it fast because he has been very, very fast in constituting this Board of Peace, because I think that's his first priority, and remaining aspects I think can take some time. Challenges, because as you mentioned that the first challenge is that dismantling and disarming of Hamas, because any peace initiative, if you have a look, we can talk about opening of the Rafah crossing, we can talk about stabilization, and also in this what we have seen is that there has been a frequent violation of the ceasefire also. So things are not that hunky-dory between Hamas as well as the IDF. So I think the most important thing would be the constitution of the International Stabilizing Force.
Yeah.
Because this force will primarily be responsible for the disarming of Hamas. And so far, there hasn't been a great consensus on the constitution of this force. So I think this should be the biggest challenge, because in case you want to have a peace, then you should not be having weapons in this area. Also, because having weapons, it leads to a clash or the eventuality of a skirmish or a firefight, taking place. Second, thinking from the strategic point of view and the security outcomes, the Board of Peace, you see, unfortunately, hasn't got those type of members right now, which have a great clout in the world opinion, because a peace plan should involve the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders here? Palestinians and the Israelis. So when you do not have any representation of the Palestinians here, and of course Hamas has not been given any place anywhere in this peace plan, so how do you enforce peace? And a second important aspect is, can we de-link Gaza from the West Bank? Because after all, Palestinians are there in both the places. So if you want to have peace in Gaza, then you also need to have peace in the West Bank. And a situation in the West Bank, as I read today, is not that conducive because Israeli settlements are actually increasing. Recently, 19 settlements were ordered there. And what happens is that when you have settlements in these areas, you are creating a kind of a divide in the population, and you are creating an opportunity for the clashes between two communities. So, are we only looking at peace in Gaza, or are we looking at a larger picture? And the larger picture is a two-state solution. So, one of the reasons India has not joined the Board of Peace is because of the Palestinian factor. Because we have a Palestinian embassy in our country, we have a Palestinian ambassador also placed here. So, and we have a good relations with Israelis as well as the Palestinians. But when we have a peace plan, we must involve both the communities. It cannot be a one-sided peace. And I think Donald Trump is trying to push this reconstruction phase because he wants to get into the act of making a Rivera or this kind of a resort here, and he's inviting large number of players, and he's going to get money also now. More than 20 countries have pledged $1 billion. I think maybe after 3 years or so, this money will be taken, from these countries. So in case that happens, the entire Gaza Strip is going to be converted into a kind of a resort with no place for Palestinians, because this is what I actually visualize, because there cannot be any place for Palestinians once you start doing this kind of a reconstruction. Either you make their homes, you make their hospitals, you make their schools, and the infrastructure, the drainage system, the water supply, the power supply. Unless you do all these activities, because so far the blueprint has not been spelled out. So I think maybe a bit premature for me to say all this, but once a blueprint is established or it is known to us, I think we'll be able to comment better on that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for your comprehensive response, Dr. Kocher. Do stay on with us as we proceed now. Viewers, let's also tell you that the updated US National Defense Strategy warns that Iran